It's 10 p.m. Did you know Hartford Healthcare's Heart and Vascular Institute tops national rankings? Trust your care to the best.
Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
Tonight at 10, horror striking New York City.
Multiple shot, dozens hurt when a man opens fire on a subway train.
And everyone was packed in that little station getting out. It was very scary.
A city on edge, but a city remaining strong in the face of fear.
And we say no more. No more mass shootings. No more disrupting lives.
From the city to Connecticut, we have team coverage on the New York subway shooting. The news at 10 starts right now. And we begin with the latest from Brooklyn, New York, in an attack that has the city still on edge. Multiple people shot, several more injured on a subway. The suspect still at large. Good evening. I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. Thanks for joining us here. A very fluid and still active situation in the city tonight. Here's what we know as of right now. This morning, a gunman opened fire inside of a subway at the 36th Street subway station. The NYPD says the suspect, wearing a gas mask, opened a canister, filling the subway train with smoke, and began shooting. Cell phone video taken on that train shows the moments when passengers run for their lives off that subway. The green-colored smoke pouring out of the train as people run for safety away from potential danger.
Now, according to the NYPD, at least 10 people were shot in that subway, and another 19 people were taken to the hospital for treatment of other injuries. That suspect wanted by the NYPD. Police on the hunt for a U-Haul truck driving the city with Arizona license plates.
Fox 61 brought you live breaking news coverage from Brooklyn as the whole situation unfolded.
Guys, live here at 4th Avenue and 36th Street in Brooklyn, where just beneath us on the subway platform down those steps to my left is where the shooting took place this morning. Now, new information. Police say they have found an unoccupied U-Haul van in Brooklyn about 4 miles from our scene.
Police quickly tracking down that van, empty, in another section of the borough. The area was evacuated and the bomb squad was called in to check that U-Haul van out and make sure that it was not a threat to the neighborhood. Police have provided more details regarding someone they're calling a person of interest tonight, but there are still many questions surrounding this attack.
Our coverage begins in Brooklyn with Fox's David Lee Miller and the latest on the manhunt.
It was a scene of panic and chaos as New York City subway commuters headed to work Tuesday morning. Riders pouring out of this packed subway train in Brooklyn after a gunman opened fire inside the car during the morning commute.
Witnesses state the male opened up 2 smoke grenades, tossed them on the subway floor, brandishes a Glock 9mm handgun. He then fired that weapon at least 33 times, striking 10 people.
Authorities recovered a gun at the scene along with multiple high-capacity magazines.
Clearly, this individual boarded the train and was intent on violence. We will use every resource we can to bring those to justice who continue to prey on the citizens of New York.
Police also found a key to a U-Haul van at the scene, which they traced to an individual they describe as a person of interest, 62-year-old Frank R. James, with ties to Philadelphia and Wisconsin. The van James rented was found a short distance away from where the shooting took place. President Biden praising the work of first responders and passengers who jumped into action.
Civilians who didn't hesitate to help their fellow passengers and try to shield them. Jill and I, my wife Jill and I, are praying for those who are injured and all those touched by that trauma.
Authorities have doubled the number of police patrolling New York City subways as the manhunt continues. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox 61 News.
Our live team coverage continues on the attack in Brooklyn, New York. The impact from that subway shooting having an effect on Connecticut commuters. Grand Central Station in New York City connected, of course, to the New Haven line, where train stations throughout Connecticut were packed with police and extra patrols to ensure everyone's safety after this frightening attack. Fox 61's Alicia Machado live tonight at Union Station in New Haven with more. Alicia.
Yeah, concerning day for passengers to travel on trains after hearing of the shooting in Brooklyn this morning. We have seen police officers in and around this station. You can see right here a New Haven police officer out front of the station. Now, as we look to tomorrow's commute, New Haven police tell me they will continue to have officers here for the time being.
I have friends and colleagues who work and live in Brooklyn, and everybody was kind of shook behind that. It's very unfortunate that something like that could happen.
A shooting in Brooklyn, New York, Tuesday morning on the minds of passengers heading in and out of New Haven's Union Station. Increased police patrols and a heightened presence in and around the train station following the attack in this city.
This is Brooklyn, New York, right down the street from us. That train could have come right up to Connecticut.
Traveler Caitlin Alfred from the Bronx recalls the moment she heard the news.
My mom, she texted me like, hey, are you okay? What's up? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Why wouldn't I be? And that's when I saw about the shooting and the gas and all that stuff.
She and other passengers we spoke with are concerned for safety and on high alert as they got onto the trains Tuesday afternoon.
It's definitely scary, especially seeing how many people were on the trains today. It was very stay clear of everyone, kind of be mindful, pay attention to really what's going on.
It's actually really scary because I always get told by my family, you have to be careful, don't let your guard down.
Beyond Union Station, Connecticut State Police say they sent patrols to several train stations. Norwalk, an emergency service union, out doing high visibility patrols of Norwalk's train stations Tuesday as they monitor the situation in New York.
We New Yorkers, we New York strong, so let's just understand that, this isn't something that happens all the time, but we do need more police on the trains, not on the train stations, but inside the trains for the riders.
Connecticut State Police is working with state, local, and federal agencies. They say no threat has been identified in Connecticut. Live in New Haven, Alicia Machado, Fox 61 News.
Alicia, thank you. Governor Ned Lamont speaking out tonight about the horrific shooting in New York City. The governor tweeting out, "Our hearts go out to all those injured in the horrific shooting at the Brooklyn subway station this morning." As the New York City mayor points out, there are more guns in America than people in America today. There are too many illegal guns and untraceable ghost guns. Stop the madness now. President Biden announced action against ghost guns yesterday at the White House, designed to crack down on these guns and firearms packaged in parts and then assembled with step-by-step instructions. Under the new Gun Control Act, these types of firearms will be subject to the same federal gun laws and will require things like serial numbers. Gun rights activists remain opposed to the new rule on ghost guns, arguing that it infringes on Americans' Second Amendment right.
The borough's hometown teams are already pitching in to help the recovery efforts after this senseless shooting. The Brooklyn Nets and the New York Liberty Foundation announced that they would donate $50,000 to help those injured in the subway attack. Both teams play at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, not too far from the site of that shooting. The Nets held a moment of silence before their home game against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA play-in tournament for the playoffs.
We'll expect more continuing coverage on the latest developments coming out of Brooklyn, New York. We'll have the very latest coming from New York City tomorrow morning on the Fox 61 Morning News. And you can always keep up with the latest updates and get alerts sent right to your device by downloading the free Fox 61 News app or clicking on fox61.com.